So now that the Grand Festival is over, people are starting to wonder what's next for Splatoon. Could this be the start of a new direction for the series? What will the next game be like? How will Team Pass winning the Grand Festival impact that? Let's talk about it. Disclaimer, do not take this video as some sort of accurate prediction. This is just stuff that I think would be cool, okay? Cool. Back to the video. If we want to get an idea of how Team Pass winning the Grand Festival will affect the next game, then we need to look at the impact of the previous two Final Fests. Splatoon 1's Final Fest was Callie versus Marie. Marie won, which led to Callie going missing in Splatoon 2 and us having to find her. Splatoon 2's Final Fest was Chaos versus Order. Chaos won, and this led to Splatoon 3 taking place in a completely different location from the first two games, the Splatlands, which really reflects the Chaos theme. I mean, Splatsville itself is literally called the City of Chaos, while Splatoon 3's Side Order DLC showed the consequences of Team Order losing the Final Fest. So with this in mind, how will Team Past winning affect the next game? Well, we don't know yet. Past is a very broad theme, so there's a lot of ways that could be implemented. Here are a few ways that I think they could do it. The most probable outcome is that the next game will take place in a new location with new maps, weapons, and other features that fit the winning theme. While the core gameplay loop of the multiplayer modes will remain basically unchanged from the previous game. They did this with Splatoon 3, so they're probably going to do it again. Maybe instead of a large metropolitan area, the main city for the next game could be more akin to that of a traditional Japanese city. The story could revolve around stopping the villain who's like a greedy CEO from demolishing the city and building a more modern one in its place. And the levels could be like in GTA, where you're roaming around the city. Just anything but floating platforms for the 6th time. Wait, I love that idea. Nintendo, if you're watching this, feel free to take my idea. You don't even have to pay me. Getting into more creative territory, what if the next game is about time travel? Maybe it takes place after some apocalyptic event and you have to go back in time to stop it from happening. Each level could be a different period in the history of the Splatoon world, and we could get more lore about each time period. But if we're being honest, they're probably not going to do this, since time travel shenanigans would most likely make the story overly complicated. But what if they decided to get more creative with their implementation, and decide to take the series in a brand new direction? What if the next game is entirely story-focused with no multiplayer mode? What if the next game actually takes place in the past? If it does take place in the past, then this could be an opportunity for a massive lore drop, and I, for one, am always down for more lore. A popular idea in the community is that the next game could be a prequel set during the Great Turf War, and out of all the theories for what the next game could be, this one is my absolute favorite. I would literally explode if this happened. We basically know nothing about the Great Turf War, which is weird since it's basically the reason for the entire storyline of the past 3 games. Imagine you play as young Cuttlefish, and the gameplay could be like Splatoon Hyrule Warriors, where you fight hordes of Octarians. Or if Nintendo were really the goats, then you could play as young Octavio instead. Then we could finally see what his Octoling form looks like in-game. Oh my god, and the Inklings could be the bad guys, and we could learn more about Octarian society and how they were f***ed over by the Inklings. Nintendo, please do this, I'm begging you. But what if we wanted to go even further back in time? What if the next game takes place in a time before the Great Turf War, when Inklings and Octolings were still living in peace? It could tell the story of Judd waking up from cryostasis and judging the first Turf War, and the characters could be the ancestors of existing Splatoon characters, basically like the Splatoon version of Pokemon Legends Arceus. This is my most out there idea. I know for a fact that there's no way they would do this. I just think it's a fun idea and a good opportunity for some more lore. Hear me out. What if they made a prequel/spin-off set during the human era, and it's like a gritty military FPS? It's just like this polluted and war-torn version of Earth, juxtaposed with this fucking cat. Like, you could meet with the professor, and then we get more professor lore. Seriously, Nintendo, give us more professor lore, and we could relive the story of World War V, and the Flood, and Alterna, and the Arc Polaris. That would be awesome. But like I said, there's absolutely no way they would do this, since this idea is so far removed from the core gameplay of Splatoon that I don't think anyone would want to play it, except for the lore heads who are only playing it for more lore, and that's approximately 1% of the entire Splatoon community, so this game would sell horribly. So yeah, I don't think I would want to do that. It is a cool idea though. However, there is one more idea that I haven't mentioned yet, and that is the possibility that the next Splatoon game could be completely different from anything we've seen so far. Why do I think this? Well, think about it. Splatoon 3 has all 3 hub worlds, and the Grand Festival had all 3 idol groups performing. I think this is Nintendo's way of telling us that Splatoon 3 marks the end of an era, and that these characters and locations won't be in the next game. This could be the start of a brand new chapter in Splatoon's story, with new characters, new locations, new game mechanics, new features, and even more stuff that we can't even possibly begin to imagine. And I, for one, can't wait to see where the series is headed next. Thanks for watching.